This is what my desk setup used to be, and this is it now. Anyone who uses a desk for work or just semi-regularly to chill or to do important stuff at home, your desk setup is important. So in this video, I'm going to break down my desk setup and how I use it to promote good productivity, good health, and how I try to make it look good. So guys, hopefully you find this video interesting and you use some of the ideas that I've got going on here to inspire your own setup at home. Now firstly, the reason for this video, I've just cleaned out this office to try and redo my whole setup here because I've got a new desk. Now this desk is replacing my old horrible IKEA desk that, I'll be honest, I hated. This is the Flexispot E7 and it's sort of the backbone for my entire setup. Without the desk I can't really do any of this stuff. Now it is a motorized standing desk. As you can see, I'm standing and it sort of goes up and down by the press of a button. It can lift an extraordinarily high amount of weight, it's absolutely solid, and in my opinion, looks fantastic. Now ultimately, the main part of this is actually the legs underneath, and they do all the work. And then with those legs, you can actually attach any desktop to the top of it if you wanted to, if you fancy to change further down the line. Now the one I have here is actually from Flexispot, it's their black option. I think it looks really nice, especially in contrast to the white legs. But you can get loads of different types from them, and you can also get black or silver legs to go with it as well. But I have to say, this thing is incredibly heavy. And every single piece of this thing is just solid. It really feels amazingly well built. And that's not just because I assembled it. I mean, the parts of it before I've assembled it feel amazing. And that's a really great thing, that it's solid and stable. You don't want it to be wobbly. That's one of the problems I had with my last desk that I hated, and I ended up having to drill it into the wall in order to keep it still. And once it's set up, it is really, really easy to operate. You have to have it plugged in order to power the motorized legs, but then you get this control unit over here that you can use to manually go up and down, or you can choose some preset heights that you can choose that go to either your preferred standing height, your preferred sitting height, and two other options too. So that means you can have a standing height and a sitting height, and then someone else can have a standing height and sitting height, or you can have 4 people with individual standing heights. And actually you can also child lock it, which I found essential after literally having this thing up only 30 minutes. Now a little breakdown of everything I have going on here. So this is the LG 40WP95C monitor. Rolls off the tongue. Now it is a huge 40-inch, really great productivity monitor, and I've actually done a review on it that you can see if you click on the link up there. But in short, it's great for editing, for having everything I need all on one screen, and also it's not too bad for gaming either. Next I have the Xbox Series S console here. Now it is the baby Xbox console of this generation, but it fits in really well with my sort of black and white aesthetic I've got going on. Not sure it'll stay here permanently yet, but we'll have to wait and see. Now also with that black and white aesthetic, I've got my mouse and keyboard. It's just the standard Apple ones. I'm not planning on doing any PC gaming at the moment, so I'm not going for anything a little bit more fancy or jazzy, just sort of sticking to some of the basics at the moment. And when I do my editing, I like to pull my laptop over and use the trackpad on that. I just find that a bit easier. Maybe I'll get the Apple trackpad at some point. Now this is all currently running off of my M1 MacBook Pro that I have over here on the side. The desk is actually big enough so I can put it over here to one side, and I don't need to worry about it taking up loads of space because I've got tons of room elsewhere. But I can get a stand if I want to sort of change that. Not going to do that yet though, and that's plugged in via Thunderbolt 4 into the monitor, and I sort of run everything through there. But yeah, my M1 MacBook Pro is just awesome. It handles absolutely everything that I want to throw at it. It's more than powerful enough for video editing and all of that stuff. I can run multiple programs at a time. The battery lasts ages if I want to take it anywhere. So yeah, I'm massively happy with my laptop choice. Now I also have this little 1TB Samsung SSD that I use to sort of run all of my editing off of. So I store all of the stuff I'm working on there in my Final Cut library, and I pull that from the hard drive onto the Mac. Now because it's an SSD in this Samsung T7 is actually pretty quick, so I can do that with absolutely ease. I was running an actual normal external hard drive to do that, and oh my word, I thought my laptop was really slow. And I'd been doing that for probably close to a year, and it was an absolute nightmare, but I've recently changed this and it has absolutely revolutionized how I'm doing editing. So if you're finding that your editing is slower than you'd expect your computer to be, and you're running off of an external hard drive, make sure you upgrade to an SSD as soon as you can, because it has absolutely changed my life. And it's made me realise how powerful my laptop actually is. Now, either side of my monitor, I have my Edifier R1700BT bookshelf speakers. They are really good. I've done a review on them as well if you want to go see that, but yeah, I am absolutely massively happy with these. They sound fantastic, and they add a little bit of a wooden texture to the aesthetic, and I think that just sort of helps liven it up a little bit and makes it seem a little bit less robotic. They're plugged in to the monitor as well via the aux cable, so yeah, I mean, I've got really good sound, really good visuals. I'm really happy. Now, they are actually Bluetooth, so if I want to connect my phone to it, for example, I can do that quite easily using Bluetooth on my phone. I can switch it quite easily to the Bluetooth mode just by using this little remote that comes with it that I have hidden away over here. Now, tucked away under here, past my little Lego figures, which I'll get onto, is my Deco by TP-Link. In a sense, it's a node of a wireless mesh system that I have going throughout the house. Now, I have one of those plugged into my router, one of them plugged into another room in the house, and one of them up here. And essentially what it does, it creates this sort of cloak of Wi-Fi over my entire house by sort of having these nodes that when you're walking around the house, you can switch easily between each of them, and it's not like you're having to reconnect to a different Wi-Fi to do that. Now, I have one in my office because obviously this is where I do most of my work and uploading stuff, and we're quite far away from the router, so it really helps me, and it makes my Wi-Fi so much stronger. Like, again, with the hard drive, I didn't know I needed it until I had it, and then I realised how much of a difference it actually makes. Now, if you are having Wi-Fi troubles in your home, I would recommend getting something like that. Now, whether you can get this exact one or they've updated it since then, probably go for the newer one because it will be the most stable and the best version you can get, but I would recommend doing that because it does transform the Wi-Fi in your house. Over here, you probably can't see it, just on top of this other speaker, I have an Echo Dot. Now, some of you might like voice assistant, some of you hate it. I actually really like having a little Echo Dot in here with me. Keeps me company, I can chat to it, it can tell me jokes. No, but the actual real reason is, one, if I need to know if I'm getting anything, I need to quickly ask something. I mean, I could do that with Siri, or obviously Google it if I wanted to, but for example, certain things I can't do, I can just quickly ask it to switch on some of the lights around. I can also ask it when some of my parcels are turning up, or I can quickly get it to look at something on my Amazon account for me, and it does it all really nicely, and it's tucked away, and it doesn't ever really bother me. Now, that sort of summarises some of the sort of practical things that I have going on here, but doesn't summarise everything, so I'll get on to some of the other bits. One of the problems with having all of this sort of tech in one area is the wiring, and as much as this desk does come with a wiring solution for the wires that are inside the motorized desk, it doesn't really have space to be fitting external wires. So what I've actually done is been a little bit cheeky with it and attached some of my wires underneath the desk. So I've got an extension lead which has multiple ports on it, and I've put that underneath the desk, drilled it into the top, and I've got all my stuff plugged into that. So when the desk is moving up and down, all my wires aren't being stretched and then compressed, they're just going around with it. And then what I've done is I've sort of used some sort of like cheap cable ties, and I've just sort of tightened it all up around and bunched it in the right places so that it doesn't really move or hang down really low. Now, it's not perfect, and eventually I probably will invest in a little bit of better cable management. I mean, you can get trays that you can attach to the underside of your desk to sort of make it a bit tidier and a bit more secure, so I'll probably end up doing something like that in the future, but for at the moment, I mean, it's working pretty well. When these cable ties start undoing themselves somehow, then I might have an issue. Whether I get round to changing it, we'll see, but at the moment it's holding up fine and I'm quite happy. Now let's have a look at some of the lighting options I've got going on here around the desk. Now, there's not too much. There is a ceiling light which I don't ever really use unless I need to like do something in the room, like clean up or something like that. But what I do have going on, first of all, I have this BenQ screen bar. Now, that is a light that shines down onto my desk so that I can see everything I'm doing. So if I turn that off, you can see at the moment it's okay because I've got some other lights going on, but as soon as I turn that on, everything is much more clear. The colours are right. It actually adjusts depending on the ambient conditions, what brightness and colour hue it should be. That then corrects what this looks like, so it makes it always look really nice. Now you can make some minor adjustments to that to make it warmer if you want to, or to make it cooler, or again brighter or dimmer. But I just press this button here and that just sort of sets it back to auto, and I think that works really well. It's one of those things that once you have it for a long time you don't actually really notice it, and then if you forget to put it back up, like I forgot to put it back up with my setup when I redid it, I found I was missing it and I was like, why is it always looking so dim? It's because I forgot to put that back, and it works really well. It's actually better for your eyes to have a brighter environment as well, so you're not just looking at a bright screen. But yeah, really happy with that. That works really well for me. Now there's two other lights that you can probably see in shot at the moment. There's the light coming from over here, which is on the wall. That's a Govee Glide. Now I wanted to do something a little bit more creative with that, but because of what I've got going on over here, which I'll get onto in a minute, I've not done that. So that's currently going up around my window, and you can change all the sort of colors, so you can have it animating in different ways. You can have it so that the color is any color you want in different sections, and it looks really, really good. So you can do some really cool things with that light. I've now also got a Govee strip light, which I've nicked from something else that I had it on that I wasn't using, and that is attached to the back of my desk. So that blue light you see there is separate to the light that's over here. Now I've put the controls for that under the desk on this side here, so I can switch quite easily, turn it on and off. I can switch between different colours and sort of go for a sinister vibe, just a slightly warm vibe, a bit comforting, green, make it look a little bit natural, or like I just have it at the moment, this sort of nice light blue colour. Now it's just some basic strip lights on the back of the desk, and it was actually quite long. I've trimmed it, so I cut it off down there, so that's all I've got plugged into it, but I think that looks really nice and adds a really nice vibe to the setup. The only other lighting I have sort of as a permanent fixture around here is what's currently lighting me. I've got this sort of ring light here attached to a clamp that's attached to the desk. Now it does have to plug in via a wire, via USB, and I need to sort of adjust where my USBs are, because at the moment it's draping across the desk, which I don't actually like that much. But I've got it on this arm, so I can quite easily just pack it away if I want to, and I can just pull it out into whatever position I need it. So if the camera's here, I can pull it a bit further forward. If the camera is back where we started, I had it a bit further that way. Yeah, I've got to say, really, really useful. I feel like the lighting works as even. I can switch between modes and change the sort of temperature of the lighting if I want to. Or I can just have it sort of as a mix like I've got there, and I can also change the brightness if I need to. So if I'm using it to look at something quite closely and I feel like the light's too bright, I can dim it if I need to. Now what is good about this stand as well is that I can just take that light off and I can use it to sort of film anything on my desk. So if I want to get a top-down shot of my desk, I can take the light off and I can bring this over here and sort of stretch it across and have a camera on here so I can look down at the desk, and it's just clamped on over there, so I can easily move the clamp, move it to a different desk if I wanted to, and do something like that. So yeah, that is pretty much all the lighting I've got going on. Now there are a few other little touches I've done around, so you can see obviously the wall here is not a normal wall. I've got soundproofing up. It's quite simple stuff. It's just this sort of foam padding here. Now it's really flexible and you can sort of stick it up however you want, and that basically what that does is it just absorbs a lot of the sound. So this is quite a small room I'm in, it's not actually very big, so I found when I first started recording in here, sound was bouncing around, it sounded really echoey, it was sort of a little bit of an echo chamber. Now that I've got those up, it absorbs so much of the sound, it makes an absolutely huge difference, and that's just having a strip along there. It's just sort of, when I'm talking, it just sort of doesn't bounce around the room anymore, which makes it sound so much clearer and more presentable. And I also really like how it looks. I think the sort of interchanging pattern. It just looks really, really nice how it's been set up, and I think it adds sort of a nice contrast to whatever you got on the screen, having the dark background. So I really like that. So yeah, I think that's pretty much everything with my setup. The only other things I've got is I've got this little phone / controller holder, Mandolorian thing. Some just personal touches really, just to make it a little bit more like something I would like. So I've got a Mandalorian little phone holder. I've got a little Lego Millennium Falcon with Han Solo on it, and I've got Anakin Skywalker and R2-D2 figure, because why not? And also got over here, which I think is quite cool, is a little 3D printed Iron Throne that my father-in-law made for me, and that also I think is pretty cool, so I just stuck it on my desk. So what I love about this setup is, one, obviously all the stuff I've got on here. I think it's all really nice stuff, and it really complements each other to sort of make my experience doing stuff productive and useful. Everything is within reach when I need it. Everything is as quick as it can be. It sounds as good as it can be, looks as good as it can be. But what else is good about it is the fact that I have this sort of motorized standing desk that I can be standing up for 15-20 minutes, half an hour, to sort of promote a little bit of good health, and then I can sit down for 20 minutes and sort of rest my feet a little bit, and then I can go up between them. And the desk moves so quickly that that isn't an issue. It's not like I'm waiting an age for the desk to switch between the positions. So yeah, really, really happy with this entire setup. The desk is absolutely amazing. The size of it is perfect for me. I really like the black and white finish. Oh, and the last thing I've got is this desk mat. This is by Dawn Trees. It was quite cheap on Amazon. It's this sort of felt colour. I really like how the texture sort of contrasts with the texture of the desk, and it doesn't look too jarring, but it looks very similar, but it's a different texture, so it just sort of gives it that sort of different vibe, and it's a bit softer than the desk to be able to sort of lean on or rest your arms on. And yeah, I really think it just sort of all offsets it quite nicely. And it also means that if I'm going to be putting stuff like a drink on the desk, I can just have it over here. Now, as much as this is fabric, it's better it be on this sort of cheap desk mat than be on the actual desk and damage the desk. So really happy with this. Works as a good mouse mat too. So guys, that is my desk setup. That's what I'm working with. If you've got any questions, stick them down below. I'd love to hear your feedback. Is there anything that you would change, or have you got any ideas that you think would work well with what I've got going on here? And guys, if there's anything you particularly like about it that you want to take back for yours, stick that in the comments too. I want to hear your feedback. But guys, if you're interested in anything that I've got here, I'm going to try and put links to everything in the description of the video. So go down there, have a look at the prices on Amazon and stuff like that. And if you are interested in any of it, it is an affiliate link, so it does support the channel and it helps me sort of keep producing these videos. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Whoop!